Ready for everything you wanted to know about the G-spot? Well, here's the thing. A lot of people question whether it's real or not. It's real, okay? The G-spot was invented by a very lucky fellow who found it called Dr. Grafenberg. That's why it's called the Grafenberg spot, the G-spot. And I'm going to explain to you where it is, how to reach it, and what kind of orgasms happen with it, stimulating the G-spot, that is, in this video, okay? So first of all, where is the G-spot? Well, if this, we're going to use this as the visual aid. If this is the vagina, okay, this is the, up here is the belly button. I mean, obviously the vagina is not this large, but just for the sake of example here, let's do it kind of like this. All right, so here is the clitoris. Here, labia are here. And here is the anus, the entrance, you know, the butthole, right? If she were lying on her back, up here would be her belly button, right? Around here. So for the G-spot is a third, I'll do it this way, a third of the way into the vagina on the belly button side. And the way that you stimulate it, if you were going to use your fingers, is with a come here motion, okay? Now, you can also stimulate it, obviously, with a penis, with fingers, or with a dildo. You know how they make those G-spot stimulators? The reason they're curved at the end is because it hits that spot a third of the way in. Now, what's interesting, and if you haven't watched my video all about the clitoris, you should. So let me show you this clitoral model. If you'll look, this is actually what the clitoris looks like on the inside. The only part you see on the outside is this little tip. Here is the vagina, right? The inside. This is the outside part, right? That we're not seeing. This is the inside part. And so the G-spot is right up here where all of this meets, where the crura, or the legs, the internal legs of the clitoris meet the shaft of the clitoris. All right here is actually in the same spot as the G-spot. No, you know, some scientists believe, and through anatomical dissections, which, by the way, they've only been doing for the past 20 or 30 years on women, a lot of people believe that it's correlated, the G-spot, with the Skene's glands in the same way. Kind of, it's like the analogous to the prostate gland in men. But the thing to know is that it is a very powerful spot, and when stimulated, can lead to vaginal orgasms. So there are three types of orgasms. There are clitoral orgasms, which happen through clitoral stimulation. That is the most common way that women have orgasms. There's no one orgasm that's better than another. Then there are vaginal orgasms, which come through G-spot stimulation. And then there are blended orgasms, which are a combination of G-spot and clitoral orgasms. And I'll tell you how to do that at the end of this video too. But let's just focus on the G-spot. How do you find it? The easiest way to start is doing it on your own. So figure out on your own, either with a dildo or with your fingers. So internally, you're doing this, like a come here motion with your fingers, or you're using a G-spot stimulator. And practice stimulating the G-spot, noticing what it feels like, and having a vaginal orgasm. And your Kegels, those muscles that you use to stop the flow of urine that you squeeze, squeezing those Kegels during penetration, either with fingers, penis, dildo, whatever, is going to create more friction against the G-spot, right? Because the tighter you squeeze, the more friction there is with whatever's in the vagina against the G-spot, and also the angle. So one of the ways you know that you're actually touching the G-spot is because you'll often have the sensation of needing to pee. Why? Because the G-spot, just like that point internally where the crura meets the shaft of the clitoris, this whole area is around the urethra and the urethral nerve. So when the G-spot is stimulated, it engorges, it gets bigger. It almost, if you feel internally, the tissue there feels a little bit different. It almost feels like the tip of your nose. That's the closest description I can give you. But when it's being stimulated, you will often feel like you have to pee. So don't worry if that happens, especially if you've already peed earlier. Chances are likely it's just a sign that you're in the right spot. So stay with it, keep stimulating, keep breathing, keep squeezing those muscles. And what you will find is you will have a G-spot orgasm. It may take practice, Once you master it on your own, then it's much easier to teach a partner how to do it. And for those women who have both kinds of orgasms, remember I said that an orgasm is an orgasm. It doesn't matter. But women who have both clitoral orgasms and G-spot orgasms will say there's a difference, that clitoral orgasms, the contractions and sensation is more localized externally, around the labia and the clitoris, while G-spot orgasms, they have full pelvic floor, uterine contraction pleasure. It's more deep pelvic pleasure that they feel with the vaginal orgasms. And then, of course, the blended orgasm, both, is the grand finale. So how do you have a blended orgasm? Clitoral and G-spot stimulation. First of all, really figuring it all out on your own, how it all works, being able to do that in isolation with a partner. They can bring you to clitoral orgasm, they can bring you to G-spot orgasm. And then you want to ideally either using a toy, and I'll tell you how to do that in a minute, like a vibrator, or with a certain position, you can create simultaneous G-spot and clitoral stimulation. Okay, so let's just talk about the toy use. If you go to my website, drlauraberman.com, go to the shop part and you'll see some toys. Many of them are external clitoral stimulators. That's the toy you want to use if you're with a partner trying to have a blended orgasm, clitoral and G-spot. So let's say you were doing a doggy style or spooning or whatever in some position where you can fit in between the two of you. If you the vibrators are very small. They're either like bullets, or you can even get one that's called the Athena. That's like a little cylinder, and it can fit in between the two of you. And while you're having penetration and your partner is, kind of focusing on stimulating that G-spot by slowly stroking it. So the way guys typically is really quick pounding. This is deep, slow stroking. And the woman or whoever that woman is with is also using, so you can use it yourself or your partner can use it on you, the vibrator around the clitoris. So the clitoris is being stimulated and the G-spot at the same time. This is also a great way just to have a clitoral orgasm during intercourse, even if you aren't focusing on the G-spot, using a toy like that. Especially as women get over 40, we need more added stimulation in order to have an orgasm. But for any woman, if you're having trouble having clitoral orgasms or orgasms during intercourse, this is a great way. And of course, if you want to have a blended orgasm. The other way is through a position that I call the CAT. The Coital alignment technique is the fancy name for it. But basically, it's a variation on the missionary position. So here if you have someone with a penis and someone with a vagina, which is what we're talking about here, but it could also be, two women together and she's using a strap on, right? It doesn't matter. But basically, missionary position is normally like this, right? Where the phallus, the dildo or the penis is inside the vagina, and then there's stroking, right? And your typical penis on top, vagina on the bottom scenario. And so it sort of looks like this, right? Now with the coital alignment technique, once penetration has happened, you kind of lift up and forward so that the pelvic bone of the person with the penis or the strap on is flush against the clitoris. And the penis or the dildo, whatever is strapped on, is inside against the G-spot. And now you keep that contact, and the one on top with the penis or the strap on rocks, right? So they're maintaining that deep stroking stimulation to the G-spot and pelvic bone against clitoris rubbing on the clitoris. And that is a fantastic position to have a blended orgasm. So there you go. Have fun discovering your G-spot. And if you want to learn more about this or anything else that you want to know about loving and being loved better, I am here for you. Just mention it in the comments below and make sure to subscribe if you like it.